truth be told, I don't know how many people are going to say this, but it needs to be said. The Milwaukee Bucks are the best team in the NBA. I've talked about Giannis a lot during the season, and in those videos, I've definitely gave some segments to the Bucks as a team, but I never really talked about them as much as I wanted to. Because the Bucks are more than just Giannis, but I think a lot of people know that because this team, they've been something different this year. Of course, it's no secret the presence of Giannis has definitely helped out the Bucks in their 14-game win streak, which they are currently on at the time recording this. Which, can we talk about that? The Milwaukee Bucks are on a 14-game win streak right now, and they are one win away from being the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. It seemed at one point the 1 seed was kind of untouchable in the East because the Boston Celtics were absolutely dominating, but it seems like the Bucks have definitely came back, and truth be told, this team looks more scary than ever. As much as I would love to talk about Giannis in the sense, there's not many things I can say right now because he's been injured for the past 2 games. Okay, well technically he played in the Heat game, but he was there for like 6 minutes and then he came out with, I believe, a leg injury. But you don't need me to praise Giannis in this video. In fact, I've done it multiple times. I'll leave a card at the end of the video. All I'm gonna say is that when Giannis does come back, and if the Bucks are still on this win streak, there is a very good chance this win streak goes to like 20 plus, maybe even 25. Now, since I'm not going to talk about Giannis, I want to talk about Jrue Holiday, who is someone that I've kind of disrespected in the past. It's not that I didn't think Jrue Holiday was a good player, because trust me, as a defender, I have all the good things to say about him. Even as an offensive player, I definitely feel like in the past couple of years, he's definitely developed his game. But when it came to the All-Star selections and it came out that Jrue Holiday would be an NBA All-Star, I was a little surprised. And if you saw my NBA All-Star voting video, you know I think I tore Jrue Holiday for like 30 seconds to a minute, which I probably should not have done, because Jrue Holiday is once again activating my PTSD. Now, I do want to say this, but ever since Giannis has been injured, or the times he has been injured, it seems like Jrue Holiday is right there to step up. Hell, even when Giannis isn't, I've noticed some games where Giannis and Jrue are like the 2 biggest scorers on the team. It's insane. Jrue being a 27-5 guy who is a great defender is something that I don't think a whole lot of people are going to discuss. I mean, I'm always going to go back to the 2021 NBA Finals when the whole conversation was going on about Giannis and Chris Middleton.
Giannis is the Robin. Like, that's a bad thing. Robin is still a superhero. He's just not Batman.
But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny that there was no mention of Jrue Holiday. And even over the past couple years, we talk about Giannis, Chris Middleton, which, don't get me wrong, both of those players are really good. But I just think Jrue Holiday gets very underappreciated. It seems like the last 2 games before the All-Star break and now the last 2 games after the All-Star break, it seems like Jrue Holiday has been playing on a new level. And I wanted to see for myself, so I looked into this theory. And as it turns out, I was right. In the past 4 games, Jrue Holiday is averaging about 28 points per game, 7 assists, while shooting 55% from the field. Oh, and he's shooting a ridiculous 50% from 3. And it's not like Jrue Holiday isn't taking a lot of threes. He's a volume shooter, and he's making a lot of the shots that he's taking. I mean, even forgetting about the stats, he's brought a different impact to the Bucks this season, and especially in the last 4 games. I know some people are gonna say that there's a different story when it comes to the second best player on this team, but I'm starting to think that Jrue Holiday has taken that second best player role. And I truly do believe if Giannis is having a bad game, or maybe Chris Middleton isn't doing that well, that Jrue Holiday can put up the production that he needs to. Do not let the stats fool you. Jrue Holiday is better than his stats show. Brook Lopez is another player I want to talk about that I don't think many people are going to discuss. The change that Brook Lopez brings to the Bucks defense when he is on the floor is something that I cannot get over. What Brook Lopez does for the interior side of the defense is something that makes the Bucks have the #1 defensive rating in the NBA. The Bucks are currently first right now in defensive rating, like I said, but the gap between 2 and 3 are so close, but I just thought this was something that I would bring up. Anyways, something that I've noticed is that Brook Lopez is currently #1 right now in the defensive player of the year like dashboard, and to an extent I think that's definitely possible for him to win the award because, like I said, he's been amazing on defense this year. And yes, this is a Brook Lopez segment, but I'm not gonna lie, I think Giannis should win it. However, because of games played, I think Giannis has not played as many games as Brook Lopez has, so there's a very good chance they give it to Brook because of that. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a knock on Brook whatsoever. I've been saying amazing things about him, and I truly do believe if the Bucks did not have Brook Lopez, they would not have won that 2021 NBA Finals. Because this is kind of a hot take that I've had for like the past couple years, but I truly do believe that Brook Lopez is the X factor on the Milwaukee Bucks. Some people have like a different term for like what is an X factor on a team, and if we're using that metric, then yes, I think Brook Lopez in that 2021 Finals finals was the X factor, and he's been the X factor for the past couple years. However, that number 3 spot might actually belong to Brook after what Chris Middleton has done this year. When I do these team videos, I'm usually very positive about the team, and I don't have that many negatives to say, but I do want to talk about Chris Middleton for just a little bit, because Chris Middleton has somewhat been off this year, and his stats do not look good. However, there is some context I want to add. First of all, he is averaging 13.4 points per game, and his 3-point percentage is 29%, which is the worst of his career. He's also shooting 42% from the field, which again is the worst of his career. Overall, he's not been able to shoot that well this year. And statistically, he's playing the worst he's ever played since like 2014. However, with this in mind, there is a little bit of context I want to add. First of all, Chris Middleton has only played in 19 games this year because he was injured for a period of time. The Bucks have played about 60 games, so if we're using math, Chris Middleton has only played about 33% of the time this year. Also, the amount of minutes that he's played this year is very interesting. I mean, he's only started in 7 games, and like I said earlier, he's played in about 19. And his minutes, well, he's averaging about 21 minutes per game. I've also done a little bit more research, and it turns out at one point he was with the Milwaukee Bucks G League team, the Herd, so apparently it's been something going on for like the whole year. Anyways, the point I want to make is that sure, Chris Middleton is definitely not playing the way he's used to, and of course it's going to take a little bit of time for him to come back, but I truly do believe by the playoffs, if Chris Middleton is good to go, that he's going to be once again a very big part of this Bucks team. Now, I want to transition into talking about some players coming off the bench, because Milwaukee's rotation has some pretty solid players, and they've also had some interesting pickups to say the least. Okay, so first we have Jay Crowder. Okay, let's talk about him for a sec. I'm gonna put all my bias aside, as I do not like this man one bit, but you know what? I'm a professional, so we're gonna move forward. Now, the Bucks giving up 5 second-round picks for Jay Crowder was something that I wasn't too shocked about, because that whole trade deadline, it seemed like everyone was giving up second-round picks. But for the value that they gave up and what Jay Crowder can provide, I think it's kind of interesting to discuss. Milwaukee definitely needed a player like Jay Crowder, who's a veteran, who's been there before and has done that. Well, he hasn't won, but he's been there. As far as from a basketball standpoint, Jay Crowder is a good shooter, but I do have one little problem with him. I'm gonna always say this, but when Jay Crowder is on, he is on. He's not going to miss. But on the other side, when Jay Crowder is off, he's completely off. It comes to a point where he shouldn't even be involved in the offense. Now, as far from the defensive side, I think Jay Crowder is a pretty solid defender, and I think he's definitely going to help out Milwaukee, which is one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. But I'm still interested how Milwaukee's going to utilize him. I think they're currently testing stuff out, and I do want to see what happens when we actually get to the playoffs. Another guy I want to give a short segment to is Bobby Portis. I just want to say that Bobby Portis has stepped in for Giannis when Giannis has been injured, and he's done nothing but well. And I'm gonna always go back to the 2021 finals, because I think that's when a lot of the Bucks players really showed how good they were. And I remember Bobby Portis being an absolute monster. And even if we want to go to last year, I think Portis still showed what kind of player he was. I'm gonna say the same that I said about Jay Crowder, but when it comes to the playoffs, I'm interested to see what they actually do with them. Now, these next 2 guys, I'm gonna give them an honorable mention, because I'm not about to do a segment for these 2, but I want to talk about Pat Connaughton and Joe Ingles real quick. These are 2 great wings for the Bucks, and they've done nothing but good stuff for this team. And truly, these are 2 players that when they get hot from 3, they are definitely some 3-point snipers. In fact, I'm starting to notice that Milwaukee has a lot of great shooters. I don't know if I'm the only one that picked that up. I've been on this train for a while, but I think the Bucks are currently the best team in the NBA as a whole. And it's not just because of the win streak. I've been saying this for the longest of time, that I think they're one of the best teams. However, I think this win streak, along with what I've seen lately, has definitely shown me that the Bucks are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NBA. I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. That's not really a surprise to anyone, and I've been telling this to everyone, but if there's one team I am scared to play, it's the Bucks. I will play literally any other team in the NBA, but every time Phoenix plays the Bucks, I get worried as hell, which I'm not gonna lie, that would be such a great NBA Finals. Once again, it's gonna be legendary, but for my mental health, please don't let that happen. Anyways, man, all jokes aside, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like on this and subscribe to the channel. If you guys do want to see the Bucks video, it's right here.
Yes, fuck that bitch till the day I die. 220 on the dash, I got bloody red eyes. I got the pay coming in, finna get me out. Tryna link, I ain't